Plus.
Welcome to Cellmates, 30 days of Plus, a daily, unpaid, month-long exploration of, well, not everything on Disney Plus, but many things on Disney Plus.
That was a great word. You stuck that landing. Look at you.
Really proud of that.
Very proud. Here on day 23.
23
we're finally
23
getting
days.
the hang of this.
Finally got the intro.
Yeah. We're in the single digits, guys, of things left. So you're welcome.
Yeah, how are you
Appreciate
feeling?
you. You know, I think it is nice to see the light at the end of the
Disney tunnel.
Arced Plus tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a lot, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm really excited to go back to doing one episode every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But also, I'm gonna kind of miss this consistency and just like knocking out some stuff, and also kind of knowing what I'm gonna do almost every day.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I might not miss this as much.
You don't have to agree.
I've enjoyed for the first month being introduced to things I might not have, but
Yeah.
I feel like at this point I'm like, cool, I have a couple things I like, and I'd like to just kind of follow those for a while before getting new stuff thrown at me. But
And that's kind of the thing. There's some stuff that we want to keep watching that we have not had the opportunity to keep watching.
there's also some stuff that we have kept watching and just haven't been able to record episodes on
because
because
it's
we've already
not
done
new.
it. Yeah.
What do you have an example?
Yeah, we've watched several Muppet Babies.
Yep.
I don't know if it's new from the last time we kind of checked in on what
Yeah,
we
but
continued.
still.
We've watched most of Imagineering Story, minus
Yeah.
the newest episode.
We're 3 episodes out of currently 4. I don't
Yeah.
know how many total there are.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And Mandalorian, the same, 3 or 4.
What's that?
Very funny.
What show?
The Baby Yoda show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, along with the Imagineering Story, this is, you know how like at the beginning of this we thought Encore and High School the Musical, the series the musical was maybe the same. I think I thought this documentary that we watched today, because I had heard about this.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Imagineering Story.
I did too. And then when the Imagineering Story started with like Walt, I was like, oh.
Well, and like part 1 even.
Yeah. I also thought like maybe this was out, or maybe this was like a YouTube thing or something. But this came out today as we're
Tuesday.
talking about it. This came out
And this
yesterday.
episode is coming out Wednesday.
So for you, this came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's what is it?
Well, I mean, it starts out with like following Bob Iger into a Pixar meeting that I'm sure he's definitely at all the time. And so to me, it's like, oh, we're going to start with the legacy of Bob Iger. This is just Disney propaganda. But then I forget how good Disney is at propaganda.
And how much we love to watch
so it was
Disney
pretty
propaganda.
effective. I'm sorry and happy to report.
I mean, so the main thrust of it, aside from the Bob Iger parts, is seeing what different people do within the Disney company.
And all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that extends to
Parks,
ABC.
Animation, ABC, Marvel, yeah.
And there's some there's some jobs that I didn't even think about. Mm-hmm. Like for me, one of the most interesting jobs that I would just love to know more about and love to see. I could watch like an hour on this. Is the woman who did art for like the kids' picture books?
Oh yeah, she
that
works
come
in
out like alongside a movie.
Disney publication. Yeah, so either retellings or extensions of the story, and she works in the graphic design area of it, of illustrations and things like color scheme configurations to kind of match the scheme of the movie. And yeah, that was really cool. This was fun because like you said, like oh yeah, that would be a job.
Like someone must do that for a
and
living.
There's so many arms of this giant corporation that it was. And I think they did a good job, too, of dividing it between, like, all right, I recognize this name or I recognize this product. Because to me, like, Eric Goldberg is a bigger name in Disney, but...
Who is the animator who, among other things, worked on the Genie.
As his first job at Walt Disney.
He was like the character animator?
Yeah, the supervising animator of the Genie.
So, like, this guy is one of the big animators at Disney.
Yes.
And he's profiled, and he's interesting.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's profiled. He's a good interview.
Yeah.
And he's a charming, odd little man.
But so, like, bigger names like Eric Goldberg. And is it Robin Robinson? No.
Robin Roberts?
Robin Roberts. There we go.
From Good Morning America.
But then down to, like, the veterinarian at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
And the prop master for Galaxy's Edge. I don't even know if he was the prop master. He just worked on it.
He was like a prop sorcerer?
Yeah.
Or so what he did is he traveled around the world, like getting airplane parts and like just different things that they would, because Disney doesn't make every single thing from scratch, which is something that's kind of mind-blowing to think about when you see how well curated everything is.
That Disney's going out to thrift stores just like we did in our
Yeah.
high school costume department. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of the same. They'll go to a junkyard that's like demolishing a 747, but they'll also like go to a thrift store and be like, oh, that lamp would look great in the Tower of Terror. Mm-hmm. Like we probably could have sourced very similar stuff to the Tower. It's like, yeah, old lamp, great.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they have a very specific eye for it, and they probably got like hundreds of them and then figured out which one was the best.
Feedback and all of that.
But it's a fascinating job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the veterinarian was cool too, because I mean, I'm sure again, it's hard to shake the PR/propaganda.
Oh yeah.
Of this all.
That's a huge part of this.
It's hard to shake that, because like for the guy that like bought airplane parts and stuff, partially they're showing off Galaxy's Edge.
Right.
For the veterinarian, partially they're showing that they are not SeaWorld.
Right.
And she was the perfect person to pick. She's so sweet.
Yeah.
And so nice.
Well, and the work she does is interesting.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I'm like, like you said, I could just see the transparent curation of like, we are like, each of our employees is going to have gender and racial diversity and be different ages, which is nice. Mm-hmm. But also like, we're going to show off Galaxy's Edge. We're going to put a Frozen 2 plug in here. We're going to, even in like that opening Bob Iger sequence, they're talking about Onward, the Pixar movie that's coming out next year.
You see some art behind it and stuff like that.
So it's like, it's very curated. However, these people are interesting, and Disney tells a damn good story.
Yeah.
So they all get great stories and profiles. It's very sweet.
Yeah, like I'm happy to watch this.
Yeah.
I'm also happy to watch Disney vacation planning videos. So that's not...
Grain of salt.
It's a grain of salt. If you are not excited to watch corporate propaganda by the best corporate propagandists on the planet, then this is not for you. But it was cool.
Dick, we've been discussing career stuff lately, just outside the podcast.
What?
If you were going to step into, like, get some training and step into any one of the jobs profiled here, because they all seem very happy in their jobs, at least they've been paid enough to say that.
This is a good question for both of us right now.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, which would you choose?
Okay, so I have two choices. Uh-huh. Based on my current skill set, I would be a droid programmer. Mm-hmm. Also, that's something like when I started learning programming, I was kind of like, oh, someone's got to program animatronics. Mm-hmm. I could learn how to program animatronics. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they profiled a woman who created or programmed a new droid for the park, and she was like talking about refactoring it and stuff like that. And it sounded really cool. It sounded like something I'd be interested in. Alternatively, maybe the object finder.
Yeah.
That's just a really neat job. Like what are his hours? That's a job that's so loosely defined. I don't know if he works like 80 hours a week or 4 hours a week or what, or
right.
Like, does he get paid like $15 an hour or 1,500? I couldn't think of a good 15.
Yeah,
does he get 15 an hour or 150,000 a year? What is that job? I have no idea, but it looked neat.
Yeah.
What about you, Kate?
I was so like, and this is fine because I think you get it other places. I was a little bit not disappointed, but like they didn't have a story supervisor or some kind of. I feel like in Disney in general, that would be the most fun job, like to just like talk about where's this story going. But I was really fascinated, and if I had this skill, they profiled a sculptor for Pixar who sculpts out of clay the models for the characters before they plug them into a computer. And he was saying now this is more done, more and more it's done digitally because you actually have people trained to create models in a digital space. But
I thought it was interesting, though, that he said initially it was like computer people trying to learn art,
right,
and now it's art people learning the computer software,
right.
And it's like he's like, yeah, this is a better choice.
But I think one, it's neat because it shows up in Pixar's work versus other CG animation companies that their characters are interesting and pleasing to look at, because
and real.
We've seen a lot of CG characters that are not pleasing to look at for this podcast. Yeah, and so I'm not as much of a visual artist, but as someone who partakes in the arts, it was interesting to me to kind of build a character from drawings, like responding to drawings, but that works on every dimension, that seems lifelike, that is interesting to look at, that is functional for what the character has to do in the story. So to me, that was the closest kind of to just straight up storytelling.
Cool.
Besides, the animator's job.
One thing that I was going to ask is, I know we've talked on the podcast. You've written some musicals. Would working not on the art side, but maybe on the writing or story direction side of like the publication, like those children's books, would that be something that interests you?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Not that we're just picking a job that we're going to do. But
I'm not in publishing. I'm not. I'm not in that field.
Well, you've got a couple of friends.
No, yeah, that would be the same kind of thing. This like storytelling and taking characters that are known and creating new stories for them is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, pie in the sky job would be a composer for Disney, but sculpting is great too.
One thing that I noticed, and it's interesting that you were saying sculpting is the closest to like storytelling, creative.
Sculpting or animating, yeah.
The only job that I saw that wasn't in any way tied with that was veterinarian. Because she is taking care of the animals, and like she maybe has her own little stories and stuff, but she's taking care of the animals.
Yes.
They do whatever they want.
Right.
But like
she's not showing the animals, she's not interacting with guests.
Right. Yeah. But like the train conductor, he's got like little stories. He's got, like badges he gives out. He's got little things that make people's day. The artists have their own stories. The droid programmer, she's like I'm not programming a robot, I'm creating a character, and that character has sort of so it's interesting how many people involved in this in their mindset had like you could absolutely program a droid and just be like, oh, it does these things. But it's interesting how baked that is into the Disney mindset of like, we are creating an experience, we're creating a story, we're creating a character.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I mean, the more we see of the Imagineering story in any kind of documentary that we've watched on Disney Plus so far, that is what Disney's known for, but it is neat how deeply embedded it is in everything they do.
Yeah.
And it resonates. There's a reason they're this giant corporation that's taken over the world. Yes, please.
I mean, you're going to be one of only 3 companies soon, so hire us.
Yeah, so we might as well.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Dick, what would you pair this with?
Ooh. Come back to me.
I got one. There's a holiday special. It might still be on Hulu or it might not. It's Disney World Prepares for Christmas. Disney World or Disneyland, and it's the same kind of thing where it's a behind the scenes look, but it focuses on the specific people who like the woman who has choreographed parade dancers for 30 years, or the person who's in charge of like the wreath flow. Like, it tells the story from the perspective of characters. As opposed to just, and now we're in this park, and now we're in this park. And it reminded me of that, where like, oh, this is propaganda, but it's so damn good, and these people are so sweet, and I can't blame them. Like,
and
same kind of feeling.
It was fun to watch. Also, Whoopi.
Oh yeah, Whoopi's part of it.
She seems like she just lives. I think it's Disney World.
Yes,
because it's like the Grand Floridian or something, where they're building a gingerbread house. It seems like she just lives there.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, how's that gingerbread house
Everyone
coming?
knows her.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a blast.
Yeah.
Man, what would I pair this with? I would pair this with any other company that has a film about the way they work. Just to compare and contrast. Because like my company, I work at the New York Times, failing New York Times, as you all know. No, I work at the New York Times. I'm a software engineer there. There was a documentary that came out called, just look up New York Times documentary. I think it's called Beyond the Headline or something like that. But it's about the New York Times, like 2005 or so, transitioning to digital. And it's really interesting because the documentary, I believe, is made by like outside people, but obviously in some way, shape, or form, the company is always going to.
Is it page one?
Page one
inside the New York Times.
Page one inside the New York Times, and it's really interesting, like what the company wants you to see and the impression they want to give. And so for the New York Times, a lot of it is like, even though we are a major company, we're scrappy, we're we're independent, things like that. So those are the values that they're pushing forth. And by like kind of watching that back to back, you can kind of get a feel for like, oh, this is what this company is putting forth.
Yeah.
Alternatively, if you work for a company, any of your company meetings, any of those like big end of the year meetings where like the CEO who you've never met comes out and talks, and you're supposed to get really excited because it's someone you've never met talking to you. And just like look at what they're trying to put forth in their values. I just think it's interesting.
Yeah. Cool.
So pair company propaganda with
other companies' propaganda.
That's the way to do it.
It's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. Yeah. Hashtag 30 Days of Plus, PLUS.
Yeah.
We are Cellmates Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, at gmail.com, regular.com, yes. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, we will.
For the next couple days, we'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, man.
But only a few.
Only a few.
All right.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Thanks, Dick Ward.
Thanks, Kate Phillips.
I'm not sure that we said our names till now.
Well, we did now.
Yay.
All right. Bye.
Plus.